Ever since the Israel-Hamas war started, we noticed how Islamofascists managed to fool far-left Marxists and turn them into useful idiots. We saw how, one by one, every major Western capital city fell to Islamist propaganda and their agenda. Cities that were once bastions of liberalism, democracy, free speech are now reduced to Islamist propaganda. And these far-left Marxist useful idiots might think that they're on the right side of history. These social justice warriors might think that they are speaking up against a genocide, that they're speaking up for human rights, and they are practicing their free speech. But they couldn't be more wrong. Sometimes wars are just inevitable. Wars have casualties, and wars are always ugly, but that does not make it unjust. Sometimes you have to fight to defend your way of life, to defend your values. And that's exactly what happened with Israel. I am pro-Israel, but this video is not about Israel because nearly 100,000 Islamofascists, along with their stupid, useful idiot, far-left wokies, descended upon the Sydney Harbour Bridge. They burned down Australian flags. They chanted antisemitic slogans. They waved ISIS flags, along with people that I used to once suspect, people like Julian Assange. I still believe that what the US and the UK government did to Julian Assange was abhorrent and atrocious, and it shouldn't have happened. But that doesn't mean, Julian Assange, that you should jump in the lap of Islamofascists. These people burn American flags, Australian flags, British flags. They don't care about Western values. They hate Western values. They shout from the rooftops that they hate everything about the West.
It is from our religion that we have to hate them for the sake of Allah. We love what Allah loves, and on the opposite of that, we hate what Allah hates. Does Allah hate shirk? Yes.
Al-adawa, enmity and hatred, meaning we're enemies. Let's not beat around the bush. We don't love each other. We're not on the same page. We are not friends. Does that make sense? We are enemies.
And knowing this, you can be nothing but a useful idiot because you are burning down your own house. These people are not loyal to anything that's Western. And it's not about stopping a genocide because there is not one. These useful idiots are totally oblivious to history. They don't know how societies evolve, survive, and then thrive. But even if you don't care about the Israel-Hamas war, this is about Australia. What does Australia have to do with Israel? Australia has no sway over Israel. How can Australia tell Israel that, hey, you know, we have a few tens of thousands of Islamofascists and blue-haired Wokistanis. Would you please stop fighting for your survival? How can Australia tell them that? Just like Israel can't tell Australia when we have to fight with our own homegrown terrorists. And this is going to happen in the UK. It's going to play out in the streets of the UK. The UK will be fighting for its survival within the next 5 years. In the UK, I believe they have reached a critical number to overthrow the system, to cause unrest, to even cause a civil war. You don't need to be 50% in number in order to overthrow a system. Throughout history, all revolutions that we know of, all civil unrests that we know of, they were triggered by a few thousand people, and Britain has millions of them. Now, as I said earlier, according to some estimates, nearly 100,000 Islamofascists, along with their Marxist, useful idiot allies, turned up over the weekend to protest for Hamas on the Sydney Harbour Bridge. Now, this protest was not first allowed by the New South Wales government, but an activist judge said that these people have a right to protest for Hamas because on paper, they're actually speaking up against a genocide. Again, there is no genocide. We have a lot of activist judges too, and I have to be very careful because I'm pretty sure that this free speech activist judge might have a problem with me exercising my free speech. Anyway, I signed up to play with fire and I'm willing to burn because I have a vested interest. I know that my survival or the survival of people like me will be in danger once these Islamofascists win. At least I know what's going to happen to me, but these useful idiots don't know what's coming their way. These idiots will be the first ones to be thrown off the same Sydney Harbour Bridge that they are protesting on by the same people that they are protesting for. At least I know they don't. I just cannot understand how a civilization that I often refer to as the greatest civilization humanity has ever come up with, that civilization can give us Immanuel Kant, Sir Isaac Newton, John Locke, Edison, Jefferson, so many great people. And it can also produce these blue-haired Wokistanis, these useful idiots. How? How can there be such a big disparity? I used to think that my country of birth, Pakistan, has a lot of idiots. And then I looked at the overall country and I thought, what do you expect? But this civilization went to the moon and is planning to go beyond. But at the same time, they are producing these idiots who are gladly putting a noose around their own necks to appease these barbarians. Australia is falling. Over the same weekend, this guy turned up. I can't show you the video, but he burned down the Australian flag. They're shouting from the rooftops that they hate you. They want to dismantle everything that you built over the last 2,000 years. And our politicians, our system somehow seems helpless. It has no answers. Why can't we just grab these fuckers by their necks and deport them to the countries that they admire? Why? My rhetoric is going to get harsher and harsher because I am sorry. I'm also at my wit's end. I'm also getting frustrated because, as I said, I have a vested interest. These people kill people like me. The West is the only civilization where people like me could not only survive but thrive. And I have thrived. I have done very well for myself. But all of this is in danger. And it's not just me. Everyone, all of you, all of us, freedom-loving, free people are going to go down. But having said that, though, all is not lost, my friends. Trust me, as someone who's been fighting this war for nearly a decade, I can tell you that times are changing. I can tell you that the masses are waking up. It's a race against time. It's the question of whether enough people wake up in time and reclaim their countries, or the Islamofascists win and overthrow the system before enough people wake up. Obviously, I wouldn't be fighting this war if I didn't think we could win. I do think that enough people will wake up just in time. I do think that this cultural war will be fought. And this is not just a cultural war on social media. This will take a physical form. It will happen because our lefty politicians are making sure of it. I refuse to believe that the greatest civilization humanity ever came up with is just going to fizzle away without a peep. I refuse to believe that. But having said that, though, things like these have happened in the past. Historians do agree that one of the reasons for the fall of the Roman Empire, I know it's a cliche, but we cannot ignore the ancient Roman Empire. We can learn so much from it. I know a lot of people draw parallels between the United States and the ancient Roman Empire, but there's so much to learn from that. In the final years or decades of Rome, Rome was a melting pot of multiculturalism. We had the Vandals, the Visigoths, the Huns, and the Angles and Saxons, so many other cultures. They all were hostile to Rome and the Roman way of life. And Rome just fizzled away. They say it's one of the reasons. They weakened their institutions. They weakened their way of life. They weakened everything that Rome once stood for. This was no longer the Rome of Julius Caesar or Augustus Caesar. And the Roman people just slowly gave everything away. They were no longer the proud Romans. So is this the future of the West? I refuse to believe that, but it can happen. If you don't stand up for your values, if you're not proud of what you've built over centuries, why would the invaders care about that? Of course, the invaders have their own set of values. And that's how humanity has always worked. That's how societies have always evolved. But before all is lost, I do think that things are going to heat up in the UK. The UK will be the country where these cultural wars are going to take place in their physical form. And I hope the UK wins. And while that is unfolding in the UK, I think other countries like Canada and Australia, they might learn something. They might try to avoid the same situation in their respective countries. Or at least that's the hope. But anyway, before I go, let me play you a video that will give you a little glimpse into the minds of these useful idiots, like how stupid low IQ individuals these people are. If you ever want to see a video where people are saying so many things but not making any sense at all, then this is it. Let me warn you, when you watch this, you might want to pull your hair out of your head. It is enjoyable too in its own way. This is incredibly stupid.
One of the things we've seen in the Western media is this misrepresentation of Palestinian resistance. It's like, if you were in that position since 1948, wouldn't you do the same thing?
I would like.
Wouldn't you do the same thing? Like blow up buses, raid music festivals, rape women, kidnap some, fill their bodies with bullet holes. Wouldn't you do the same? Just look at this woman, though, before you hear her response. Look at her. She's probably a lesbian. You know what I said? That these are the same people who are going to be thrown off the Sydney Harbour Bridge by the same people that she is speaking up for. This is the literal face of a useful idiot. It doesn't get any more idiotic than that. I'm assuming she's a lesbian, but even if she wasn't, the Quran is pretty clear on what to do with non-Muslims.
I like to think so. And this is.
I'd like to think so, yeah. But if you probed her a little bit more, what do you mean? And obviously, she wanted to pass the baton on to the other useful idiot because she obviously doesn't know anything. She could be paid, who knows?
Just historically what they do to, brown people, people from an Islamic background. This is just typical,
It's
Typical, what are you saying? Brown people, is that it? Is that what you've been told to say? Hey, it's racism. That's it. They've got a couple of buzzwords and they just run with it. She has no idea about the Islamic conquest of Spain, Serbia, Greece, Hungary. You know what I said earlier? These people have no idea of any history. They've never read any history. They have never read anything. They don't know how societies evolve, survive, thrive, conquer. I'm not even blaming Islamic civilization for conquering their neighbors. That's how humanity has always worked. And yes, the West also did the same thing in the last few centuries. But the West also made sure that it doesn't happen again. Out of colonialism came the United States of America. The United States of America pressured both France and the UK as a condition before entering the Second World War to free all the colonies. And out of that came Pax Americana. Out of that came this new world order that we all live in and enjoy. It's not perfect, but it is still by far the greatest civilization humanity has ever come up with. No other civilization in history has been so accommodating and nice to other cultures. The West opened its doors to the rest of the world. Come, look what we've built. Be a part of it. And these stupid freaking losers have nothing else to say than, it's racism, brown people, Muslim, And look, she's got no other buzzwords. And this other woman, who's probably a Muslim, she's going to give her some words.
Western imperialism.
absolutely.
Oh.
And
I bet she can't even spell imperialism. I bet she doesn't even understand what imperialism means.
it's always, when brown people or black people resist, it's terrorism. But when, it's white people, it's, resistance or.
This lesbian lady, she had nothing to say. So she just handballed the microphone to her smarter friend. And she was just as dumb as her. And she had nothing to add other than, it's just racism against brown people and Muslims. Oh, stupid.
The claims about what the resistance did is actually unsubstantiated. Like, there's not even that much evidence. Like, Hamas is a resistance group. If we were in that position, we would be resisting, right?
Absolutely.
You could also make the argument.
If we were in that position, we'd be resisting by raping women, shooting people in the heads, shooting concert goers in the heads. This is happening in Sydney. We have normalized. Guys, it's a lost cause. Fuck it. I can't play the rest of it. It's a lost cause. We have normalized this. Now, I know a lot of people say, I don't want to get involved in this Israel issue, but this is it. They've normalized it. It's okay to say that it's okay to rape and murder Jews in the name of resistance. It's okay. You can say that in these Western countries. I'm lost for words. But again, there is some hope. Yeah.